Hi guys, and welcome to another episode of Down to Business. And today, still very much about business, but a bit of a different spin. I'm joined by Mark Hughes of the Mark Hughes Foundation, really to talk about how businesses can get involved with that community side of things and charities, etc. That is not only to support great organisations, but can offer many a benefit to a business owner as well. So, first of all, welcome, Mark.
Yeah, thanks, Andrew. Nice to be here.
Thanks for joining me. And
Pleasure.
obviously, you've got a fair bit of profile, especially around Newcastle and with some of your history. But why don't you tell us a bit more about your background, where you are today, and probably how you work with businesses as well.
Yeah, sure. So, Curry boy, grew up there and just...
the mayor of Curry.
Yeah, loved that. Loved out Curry and just loved me sport out there. That's a big sporting town. Cricket, rugby league, did all that stuff. And eventually, I finally got my opportunity at the Knights when I was about 18 or 19. So I moved down when I was 20 and I've been living down here ever since. So yeah, very blessed to have had a great upbringing there. Now loving life in Newcastle. Achieved my goals, which was rugby league. Worked so hard to get there and had a good 10-year run or so with that. Enjoyed some success at the Knights, which was wonderful, and started to get my first idea of what an amazing community and town this is and the way they get behind you. And I've seen lots of examples of that since. But certainly, I used to do a lot of stuff in the community as a Knights player, and I didn't know it at the time, but I was probably in training and getting ready for what was ahead.
Yeah,
which is a funny thing. So I did the sport. I had a year in France. Came back, started a business which was cleaning and facilities maintenance and stuff, and did that for about 8 or 9 years. Once again, worked very hard and put a lot of those traits that I had in rugby league. You don't realise you're learning a lot of stuff in sport that can come across into rugby league. Consistency, showing up, just always giving your best, all that sort of stuff. I threw that into my business and was working extremely hard with that. And once again, sometimes the universe, it just works out in a weird way, but I was working really hard because not too far down the track, I wasn't going to be able to work full time anymore. So, I was sort of getting prepared for what was coming.
Unbeknownst to you.
Yeah, unbeknownst to me. So, once I got diagnosed, probably about 2 or 3 years later, our company rolled up and we sold, and it worked out really well. And it's enabled me to be I'm a volunteer for the foundation, which I think is a very strong message to all our supporters. As far as work goes these days, I'm an ambassador for the Newcastle Knights, very proud of that, and they look after me really well. I do a bit of stuff for New South Wales Rugby League down in Sydney, which is great. And also the corporate speaking is what I'm trying to work on. Love going out and speaking to corporates, sporting groups. I go to schools and I try and maybe make a few dollars for my family through corporate speaking. So my life's, it's not where I thought it would be at this stage of my life, but this is where I'm at, and this is the cards that I've been dealt. And I feel like I'm doing a pretty good job of it so far.
Yeah, good. So obviously, you as you said, been in teams, been in business, and now as much as not a business owner, still working very closely with a lot of businesses. Hence, in the foundation sense as well, and from the matter of some of the roles you're playing with rugby league and the speaking gigs.
Yeah, and look, what I am doing, I'm passionate. I'm chasing my passions. And I think that's very important to remind yourself why you're doing this, why you're getting out of bed, who are you trying to help, what impact are you trying to make. And the strength of me is that I'm working for a purpose, not a profit. And I think that sometimes in business we get so caught up in profits, we forget about why we started doing stuff. And I would advise people to really focus on the purpose and the passion that probably ignited why you're doing what you're doing, and focus on that. And I find that the profits look after themselves. But I think it's those that just continually pursue and are so about the profits, they find it harder. So for me, chasing my purpose, following my passion, is a really great way to go. And everything else I know will just look after itself.
Falls into play. That's a great point. And I guess, one of the common things we've had throughout all the videos we've done to date has been, having that plan, that goal, as you say, that purpose. very easy to lose sight of it. So it's an excellent point. But
Yeah.
so I guess, taking where you are now, and obviously some people might sit there and go, oh, but you've got a profile because of the town, etc. But I've got to know you pretty well, and I think what you're saying is that you live very true, and you talk to the bloke down the street to the Prime Minister, the way I describe it. So I think that personality side really helps within that whole framework of running a business, for that matter, what we're talking about now.
Sure does, and you come across all types in business, don't you? And you need to go to all different levels and communicate and make people feel special. I get times where I do get under the pump and I feel like I'm getting pulled from pillar to post. But what I promise myself is that I make every person I'm talking to feel like they're the only person I want to be talking to right now. There's nothing worse than being in conversations, and you'll be in a conversation with someone and they're looking around and they want to go to the next conversation, or they're not present. So I'm really present, and whether it's an old 90-year-old lady wanting to talk about her beanie, or the young man who lost his uncle with brain cancer, I need to make sure I'm present and I'm giving them my full focus and opportunity. And and it's little things like, I get on our websites, people write a comment, so I'll find their number and ring them and just thank them personally. And just those little 1%ers that make a big difference, I think, in life and in business, is to go that little bit over and above, because people are so important and you need to invest in them. And if no one wanted to buy a beanie, we haven't got a foundation, or if no one wanted to do a ball at Wagga or a ball at Tea Gardens and raise 40 grand, if these people aren't doing this, our foundation's not going. Just like in business, if people don't want to associate with you and they don't want to be around you, well, you haven't got a business. So I think the first thing to do is cement relationships and friendships first, and then it will flow from there. But you need to get trust. You need people to like you, and like I said, don't just have those dollar notes spinning around in your head when you meet someone. And get to know them, ask questions, and I think things happen off that.
Yeah, it's a great point. And I think already we're seeing what we're talking about today is whether we're talking about a rugby league team, whether we're talking about a business, or whether we're talking about a not-for-profit or a charity, etc. A common thing is still relationships and the people part. So, mate, it's a great point you make.
It sure is. And I wasn't the best player in our footy team by a long shot, but I knew my role. I knew I had to be a bloke to bring the team together and socially, and I knew that I was a guy that had to really get in the community and do that role. And it's important to know your role in your team. We're all not going to be the best, but there are roles for every person, and you've just got to find your niche, find your role, and do it properly and do it really well. And I think I love being part of a team, and I've got an amazing team at the foundation. I've got 4 part-time workers, ladies, and I've got a strong volunteers, and there's nothing much stronger than the heart of a volunteer, I can tell you. So to work with a lot of volunteers is really special.
And just based on that whole concept of volunteers, I mean, you got volunteers and ones you don't too. There's thousands. So
thousands. Yeah. And they're the heroes of the foundation, because they're giving up their time. They've lost their husband, so they decide they want to go and pack beanies for 3 or 4 weeks for us, or someone's fighting it now, so they come and help us, or they like our concept, so they want to help. So it's so inspiring for me to see these people give up their time. And I know you guys at PKF have come in as a group and helped us, and all these little things, and I go to so many businesses that do beanies, which you do every year. So many businesses, and seeing that, what it does for business is that you're helping others. And I think at times we get so caught up in ourselves and our own business, and we're stressed, and we've got family, and our lives get so busy. But I've really seen the advantages of giving back and taking the time to give back. And I don't know, the universe has a funny way of paying you back, and that's, I know my situation, I know the stats, I know everything about it. But for some reason, I'm extremely healthy and fit, and I'm doing well. Maybe there's a little message there about the good stuff that we're doing is helping my cause. And I would recommend to businesses to take the time to do something to help others. And I think it's a great team building thing, and it'll pay yourself back in spades.
Yeah, and that point is very valid. I mean, whilst some people hear charity and not-for-profits, etc., and they think, oh, it'd be nice, it's the warm and fuzzy, but realistically, and I can attest this from a business owner's point of view, there's real commercial benefit in getting behind a cause and actually being part of that community initiative, whether it be that feel good for your team, whether it be your team getting together in a non-work sort of sense, or just even from the point of view of good profiling, etc. It's not just the warm and fuzzy, even though that's a big part of what you'd like people to do.
Yeah, but you're actually making a difference, and work can be pretty grinding at times, and hard work. So it is nice to do some different things, and by helping all these amazing charities out there, you're making a difference, and you're bringing your team together a little bit, and it feels good, and that and you're helping people, and that's important. And I don't think life's necessarily about how big your office is or how many cars you've got in the driveway. It's nice to have good things, but what impact what changes are you making with what you've done? That's the question I'm asking. Is what are you doing to make a difference with what you've got? I think that's important, and that's true success. Is what are you able to do with your assets and your profile to make a difference? And I think if people think like that, we'll have a better world. And you know what? It will improve your own business if you start thinking like that.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. So you just mentioned yourself. There's so many wonderful organisations, charities, not-for-profits, etc. out there. And that's a stat. I was involved with another group a little while ago.
Yeah.
We actually did an article around this just so people could actually understand. I think about 2 years ago at the time, there was over 54,000 registered charities and not-for-profits in Australia. You think of population size, it's about 2 for every 1 person. How do you raise the profile? How do you actually get noted that say, right, from a business owner's point of view, that's the cause we're going to support? Like, what are some of the tips there?
Well, firstly, you need to believe in what someone's saying. I guess it'd be like having a Coke rep come in and he's sitting there drinking a Pepsi. You're not going to believe what he's saying. So you've got to be true to yourself, and you've got to be honest. And when people hear me talk, they know that I'm living and breathing this situation, and that's a powerful thing. And they know that I don't clock off and go home, and it's not a job to me because this is something I've got 24 hours a day to deal with. So people get that, and they know that I'm talking from the heart. And I think that makes a big difference to people, is that I'm living and breathing what I'm talking about, and I'm surrounded by amazing volunteers and support. The other thing is it's good to have a little hook that interests people. So what can you do that's a little bit crafty or a little bit different to everyone else? I come up with the beanie because I was wearing a beanie during my rehab, and it just, beanies and brain cancer to me, I just thought that's where it's at. And very proud that I started that up. We've since had a few other foundations come in and use beanies as well, which is fine, which is good. But I'm very proud that we started that. So I've got this little hook. I'm really just wanting a $25 donation, and we're giving people a beanie, and it really works well. So in business, what can you do to just hook people in? Is there something a little bit different that? Because everyone likes to get something, and people are giving us a donation and they're getting a beanie, and I think that's really separating us as well.
Yeah, I think it's amazing. Like this intent of, I guess, this particular video was really how businesses can involve themselves with community causes and charitable organisations for not only their betterment but to be giving back. But some of the messaging you've got coming through here is very much that. Well, even though you're a not-for-profit, it's still a business. So a lot of the lessons that I guess you've been through and are using within your organisation really support from a business owner's point of view as well.
Sure does, and yeah, we are a business. I'm a volunteer, but I go into the office like I'm going to work, and we have team meetings, and we plan, and we're very, what would I say? I know we're getting a bigger foundation now, but I still want to have that charm of a small, that where people contact us, where we get back to them, and so I want to. We are a big foundation, but I don't want to lose our very touchy-feely way of doing it, and that's the same as business. We get bigger in business, and we start to lose a bit of communication. We start to, he's okay, he's only small, we'll just leave that and we'll go to this one. But really, I think the key to growth and sustained growth is to not forget about those little people that helped you along the way, and really keep that communication going, and don't become that big business that you need to talk to the operation of this bloke and this bloke and this bloke to get something done.
Yeah.
We haven't got we haven't got operation managers and brand managers, and we're on an oily rag, and people get that. And sometimes we might be a little bit slower, but I don't apologise, because I'd rather that than be paying someone money to do stuff that our supporters are paying for. Our social media, it's all done by my wife's sister. And sometimes we mightn't get everything back as quick, but it's a volunteer, and that's how we like it. And
well, it's authentic.
It's authentic. We're all in with this boots and all, and it's a family thing. And I think our supporters get that they get it, and they show their support by putting their hands in their pockets. Yeah.
So you just mentioned about, you've obviously mentioned a lot of times about team. You've mentioned a fair bit about remembering, the people that helped you get there, and that real personal approach. What are some of the other things you'd give a tip from you're running like an organisation to grow and or be sustainable, but even prosper? Because you are, as you're saying, you're running like a business. So what are some of the things that you've learned?
I've learned that you've got to persevere with things, and not be afraid of failure. Things happen. The first year, our beanies, we busted, and we all under-ordered, and people were coming at us left, right and centre, and their beanies were 8 weeks away. It was going to be middle of summer by the time they got their beanies, all this stuff. So we're going to fail, okay, but that's where the growth will come from. And I think in life we fail. We can't be scared of that, and we've just got to accept it, learn from it, grow, and keep moving. And that's what we did. And everything I've had to do, I've had to work really hard for. Whether it was sport, with my rugby league, I wasn't the regular build a lot of the other players. I had to work so much harder to get where I got, but I was willing to do that. In business, I had an 8 or 10 year run, and same again. I worked a lot harder than I think a lot of other people would, and it sort of worked well. And now with our foundation, we're doing whatever it takes there to be successful. So you've got to work a little bit harder than everyone else. I think that's probably the first thing. And I think don't be afraid of a little bit of failure, because it's going to happen, but as long as you just learn from it and go forward.
Yeah, it's great tips. Yeah. Great tips. So you mentioned a lot about the team. We'll come back to the team for a minute.
Yeah.
And I mean, your role these days, as you said before, it was a team role with the Knights. In business, obviously leading a team, and now I would say galvanising a team. Just to talk a bit more about the importance of your team to be able to do what you do.
The team's everything. I just constantly get inspired, and I'm not. I'll do it. I'll get my hands dirty. I'll pack a beanie. I'll pack up our signage and put it in the car. I'll do everything I can to help the team and show the team that I'm in their boots and all with them. But you need team, and you need to delegate and trust, and that's what I've learned along the way too. Is that put the faith and trust in your team, and they'll pay you back, for that. And once again, mistakes will happen, but you need to go past that and just hand responsibility to people and let them do it. Respect them, and you do have to come over the top now and again, and that's good management. But I think just put the faith in your team, and lead by example. The best rugby league player I ever played with was Andrew Johns, and the way he would put everything aside, he'd get on that field, as soon as he'd cross that stripe, he was almost a different person, and he would just perform unbelievable. And it's probably like that at work. Once you put that suit on, once you get to work, okay, I know there's other things going on, you need to focus, and you need to be your best. for that next 8 hours or so. And we've all got different things on. We're all busy. I also like to say to people, you're like the duck on the water with the legs going underneath. I don't like seeing people telling everyone how busy they are or how tired they are. I think you need a calm persona. You need to treat people like you're the only person that you need to see today. And going back to the team, you need a team around you that are like-minded, are passionate. And I think if you surround yourself with the right people that are passionate and are willing to do anything for your cause, you're very hard to beat. And that's what I find with my team, is that they're passionate and they're right behind everything we do. And they will answer a phone call at 7 o'clock at night, at 7 o'clock in the morning. It's pretty much around the clock. They're focused on helping what we're doing. And it's a powerful thing to have a strong, passionate team that are all heading in the one direction in your ranks.
And we've seen that as well with, as I said before, getting involved with organisations like yourself. It brings a team together. So it's from a business point of view, echo your thoughts 100%. So,
yeah.
All right. I guess we've spoken a lot why business owners and businesses should get involved with organisations like yourself. But some, especially smaller ones, have never done it before, could be sitting there and going, yeah, but how? How do I pick it? And I guess you've probably said that, with you've got to be passionate about what they're doing. But it might sound simple, but practically, how does someone go, right, we want to get involved with the Mark Hughes Foundation?
Well, these days most have got a website and phone numbers to call. It might be as simple as making a little survey in your office and say, tell us something you're passionate about, and get the surveys in. And someone might say, my auntie, she's got breast cancer. There's a few of those, so you might think, well, there's a good starting point. We'll focus on that charity. So get a feel for what your workforce are passionate about. That's probably the first thing. Or what you're passionate about. But I think it's nice to have a buy-in from the group, and it's very easy. Like, it's a simple thing like a morning tea or a barbecued sausage or a beanie day. Like, you've done it, and people get together, and it's a really nice thing to do. And it's you don't expect the world. If someone does and they raise $150, well, that's $150 closer to a cure for brain cancer, and that's great. So you don't have to change the world, you just have to support. And if lots of people are giving support, it turns into a lot of support. Yeah,
many hands make light work.
Spot on.
So I guess that's the main thing. It's just starting something.
Yeah.
Big or small, whatever you can do. But I like your message you said before about the universe gives back. So
sure does. And you got to start somewhere. If Kiralee and I didn't decided not to do this, well, brain cancer would be a lot worse off, because we didn't go through with it. And it's the same as in business. If you can commit and start you're going to start making a difference to a lot of charities, or you might just pick a couple, and it all helps. Yeah,
that's good. So specifically now with the Mark Hughes Foundation. So I think you've said before to me that you've probably surpassed any original goals you had by far, and it's a wonderful thing you're doing. But you've got some big support. Just had your NRL, Beattie for brain cancer round. I know a lot of people that actually are clear ambassadors, whether they're said ambassadors or not for your organisation. But what's the future for Mark Hughes Foundation particularly?
Well, the magic needs to happen in the research room. That's what we're here getting answers for, and we're very happy with where we're at with that. And we've got some great research up at John Hunter. We've got some down in Sydney, a little bit in Brisbane. We're building all the time, so that's where the real magic needs to happen. And we need to continue to raise money and keep and so that we can continue on our search for these answers. A big thing we do is obviously the beanies each year, which is a huge part of what happens. And we have our beanie round, but we also have where businesses or schools can bring a beanie and a gold coin donation, and that's a good way for businesses to support us, is host your own beanie day. We do a challenge every year. And this is a really strong way of raising money, and also it's a great way to show that people with brain cancer they have challenges every day. So it's for us to get uncomfortable for a couple of weeks is nothing compared to what people are going through with brain cancer. So it's a really nice thing to do. We've done Kokoda, we've done Base Camp, we've done Borneo, which have all been enormous challenges. And we're doing Mount Kilimanjaro in October, which I know you know a lot about because you're going to join us, which I'm very grateful for. So we've got 20 of us going on that. It's in October, and we all fundraise. And I know you're doing a great job with the fundraising. So if anyone wants to support us, we'd love some support. So Andrew will have his link there, and if you've got some spare money, it's going to be great because the money raised will help fund some brain cancer care nurses throughout regional New South Wales, because the best thing we've done is had brain cancer nurses in Newcastle. They're amazing, but a lot of people are travelling from Coffs Harbour, Port Macquarie, Tamworth to come and see them, and it's too hard on them. And this is a horrible disease. These people, our amazing nurses, help in this horrible situation. So I'm excited to be walking, knowing that we're going to make a huge difference to people's lives. But we need lots of funding and lots of support. So hopefully, if people can support, we'd love you to get on Andrew's link, and nothing's too small that'll help us.
So Mark, tell us I guess some of the viewers a lot about, or a little or a lot, but really about brain cancer itself. Because I know I've learned a hell of a lot since being involved with you and your organisation, and it's something that a lot of people wouldn't understand.
Yeah, I didn't know nothing about it until I was diagnosed. I just simply had headaches for 2 days. I was 36 at the time and felt fit. And before I knew it, I was in John Hunter Hospital having a tumour removed. Now, brain cancer is the biggest cancer killer for people 40 years and under than any other cancer, and it kills more children 10 and under. So there's no cure for brain cancer, which is a really tough one. So I have scans every 4 months, so that's how I live my life now. So it really makes you be focused on today and making today really good, and not looking too far ahead and not looking back, just being present and making your life as good as it is now. And I really advise people to live like that and not wait for a disease or something to happen to start living right for now, because I think we're all guilty of looking ahead all the time, but maybe now's the time to focus on, and I've learnt that one. You learn a lot out of this brain cancer stuff, and there's stats and there's all other stuff, but I'm not too worried. I'm just going to be very strong. I've got an army of support behind me, and I think I can create a little bit of history, and I'll stick around long enough to find some answers. So that's where it's at for me.
Yeah, and I think again from our organisation PKF and what we've got behind, we've got people that want to go and help pack beanies. We've got staff that go and help out at the ball.
Yep.
We got go and sell beanies, etc. And then obviously you've got your financial impact you can make. I'd encourage any business owner out there to get onto the websites, markhughesfoundation.com.au.
Yeah, simple as that. Yeah.
And see how you can help. And you want something that really brings your team together, no better cause. So I guess just to start to bring it all together. So there's a lot of great content I think you just went through, and some of it was probably not even expected when we started this video, particularly around I think the synergies or the similarities of running a business, running a football team, or running a charity, and for business owners they could take a lot out of that, because I think I won't cover everything, but some of your key messaging, importance of a team, absolutely, and knowing your purpose, and the one I love, and probably what we're here to talk about, why business owners should, but really it's about that giving back. And it's no coincidence that most of the people that do that seem to, get that bit more ahead.
Spot on.
I guess while you got the camera, any other messages from a whether it be from a foundation point of view or just generally for business owners to have a chat about?
Yeah, well, firstly, this foundation started right here in Newcastle, and the support that we've had from the Newcastle Hunter Valley community have been amazing. It started here and it's now grown further and wider, so I'm very grateful. A lot of people watching this would have supported the foundation, so I'm thankful for that. And those that haven't, I'd love you to look into what we're doing and give us some support. And I wish the people that are watching all the best in their business, and I hope they take a few little things out of that. Be that team player, value your team, because any investment you make in your team or your staff you'll get paid back in loads down the track. So, and like we said about the charity stuff, to be given back makes the staff, makes yourself feel good. And some funny ways that you'll get paid back along the way. So,
yeah, that's great.
I wish everyone all the best.
Well, Mark, your story is inspirational. What you and Kirrily are doing, I think everyone warms to it that comes across it. I encourage more people to understand more about the Mark Hughes Foundation, and if it's something else that's close to your heart, get behind a cause, a community cause, and give a bit back, because it will help you, and hopefully it took a fair bit out of this business. So Mark, thanks for joining me.
Great pleasure. Thanks, Andrew.